Peace and love. We are Native Son. I go by the name of Muhammad Yahya, and I'm one half of the group.
And I go by the name of Serena Leah, and I'm the other half of the group.
We came together to form Native Son roughly about 2 years ago, but this is something that I guess was something that was developed through a friendship that we had. I've known Serena for over 10 years. I was introduced to Serena through who used to be my girlfriend at the time and is now my wife. And I heard her music and I was just blown away by her style and just her voice as well. So from there we kind of became friends, and we always respected and really appreciated each other's art form. And I kept asking Serena to work on a track. And eventually we did come together. We worked on one track, which developed into another track, and then an EP worth of material. And next thing we knew, we had the whole album's worth of music.
Well, one of the things when we did start working together, Muhammad introduced me to African rhythms, African sounds. Like, he brought the concept, and I was like, wow, this is definitely, I'm feeling it. Like, I feel my roots in this. And, you know, one of the things with Indigenous Soundwaves, our album, it was about that. It was about bringing different sounds together, such as being inspired by like artists like Fela Kuti and Jay Dilla. Specifically, like, we like the hip-hop with African rhythms. And so that was just one part of the continent that we wanted to explore. But we also, I mean, Muhammad coming from Mozambican roots and me coming from Caribbean roots, it's like we wanted elements of different sounds in there too. Sounds that we'd grown up with, sounds that we've listened to. So there's a bit of elements of Motown, soul, yeah, just really a universal flavor in terms of sounds that we've chosen. And so I guess our aims is that they can connect with different parts of the continents, different parts of the world, different people, and just be like an amalgamation and a fusion, quite eclectic.
And also, just to add to that, I feel that music, art, fashion, they are all reflections of the person who is creating it. And I felt it was really important for us to reflect identity in terms of Serena, like she said, being Caribbean roots, and me being Mozambican. So on this project, I tried to rap a little bit more in Portuguese and really explore that, and also talk about topics that are going on and affecting the people of Mozambique, not just what's going on here in London, but like on a global level, you know. So I felt that was extremely important. I feel that there are a lot of similarities. I remember in Mexico we did a panel discussion where it was ourselves, a Mexican rapper called Boca Floja, a producer called Jim B, and also KMT, and Boca Floja's brother. And also another rapper who's from Dominican Republic called Hache. And KMT was asking him a series of questions about what are some of the difficulties or things that you'd like to see here. And they were talking about, you know, more support for underground artists, more outlets where they could hear that music. Like, and KMT eventually explained how those things are things that we also would like to see. So it's a global problem, because when you turn on the TV in England and you listen to, or you watch MTV or BET UK, you don't see a good representation of your art form. And if you go to Mexico, it's the same thing. Or if you go to America, it's the same thing. So I feel that those are some of the similarities. However, I did feel that even though we didn't speak the language, English, we didn't speak Spanish, and for them, English wasn't the first language, I felt that there was a lot of support, you know, a lot of support from the Mexican community. And I feel that when it comes to hip-hop, if we hear a rapper coming from China or a rapper coming from, I don't know, Panama, if English is not their first language, I don't know if we are equally as supportive we're quick to embrace the art from coming from another country. So I would really like to see that, just the artistic exchanges, and seeing and allowing people to understand that hip hop doesn't have to be within a certain, rappers don't have to have a certain type of content. They don't have to rap in a certain language. It's really a global movement. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why for us sometimes as Native Son, it's difficult for us to be embraced by DJs or TV stations or radio shows that play rap. For them, they have a concept. Hip hop is this. Rappers that have to come from a council estate and talk about the struggles of a council estate, talk about how they sell drugs or whatever it is, you understand? But that reality might be different to another rapper's reality. And I feel that that has to be expressed through music, and we need to support that.
And also to just add is seeing hip-hop alive and well. Like, there's always this negative kind of perception that hip-hop is not the same hip-hop it used to be, but like traveling and seeing communities and young people and just people just supporting, attending in big numbers events for artists like Boca Floja, you know, queues and queues of people waiting to hear a message in music. You know, it's not, we know that it's not just about like gangs and all that negative stuff. You know, there is positive music and there's a place for it, and it exists, it's alive. And it's a blessing that we, coming from London, can be creating this music with the sound, with the content that people can relate to, you know, and also it exists when we travel to other places. So it's like family from one place to the next place. Well, I definitely think it's a different type of poverty. I wouldn't say it's tougher, because we still see it here. Like we were just discussing earlier on about the poverty that we see on the streets in such a economic, civilized city life. You know, it's right on our doorstep, like just outside our houses. We're seeing people struggling, and you know, and visiting places like the USA and Mexico, and seeing the struggles that they're going through, and also in Sudan, where we was earlier on this year, is, you know, we can relate, we can see it, we can feel it, and we know that it is happening, and it's stuff that we really want to highlight. And you know, it's really sad seeing an elder in Mexico at the train station, like having to hustle, you know, and sell what they can just because of the economic problems that's going on in the countries, as well as homeless people in huge numbers in America, like in the tubes and tube stations and what have you. It exists, and it's a big problem.
I feel, just to add to what Serena's saying, I feel that I saw poverty on a much larger scale. I remember like driving with Boca Floja and Serena, and seeing a lot of like what you call, I don't know, shanty towns or favelas, you know, the equivalent of that in these mountains, seeing like a lot of neighborhoods which were extremely poor. But I also feel that because of that struggle, people have got a lot more of a go-get kind of mind state, you know? So people are hustling whatever, CDs, crisps, chocolates, food, making things and selling it in the streets, selling it in train stations, selling it inside the train. But here, because so many people are used to having the job seekers allowance, do you understand? They're a lot more passive. You know, we complain about the system, but we're a lot more passive and kind of like we don't do nothing about it, because we know that the next week we're going to be signing on and receiving a little money from the government. Do you understand? But it's like, when you don't have that money from the government, then what do? It forces you to go and do something to be able to sustain yourself and your family.
Well, you can expect some sunshine.
Lots of sunshine.
Lots of sunshine. Yeah, it's actually one of the songs from our album Indigenous Sound Waves, and the song's called Senses, and it will be out on July the 8th.
Yes, so it's going to be out on Monday, July the 8th. You can watch it by going to our YouTube channel, which is Native Son TV, and Sun is with a S-U-N, so Native Son TV. You'll be able to watch our video. The song was produced by Kensai, and it was a song that we did in London. It's part of our album Indigenous Soundwaves, and the video was directed and edited by Cambio, which is part of the Quilombo art movement. He is also a great MC and a great brother. And we shot it all while we were touring in Mexico, man. So it was a beautiful experience. I think it's actually one of mine and Serena's favorite songs. I think even like the process of creating that song, it's a very short song, but I just remember being extremely grateful for the blessings that we have every day, being able to breathe, being able to speak and communicate with people, you know, and we often take those blessings for guidance.